Hello friends, I am Dr. Vijay Prakash and today I will be talking to you about monophasic elastomeric impression material. Now what do you mean by monophasic material? Mono means single. So any material which is used in single phase are called as monophasic impression materials. And what are elastomers? Elastomers are basically defined as three-dimensional polymer network which are having good elasticity, and they are having wide elastic range within the intended working temperature range. So in dentistry we have actually four types of elastomers which we commonly use. One are polysulfides, second are condensation polysilicones, addition polysilicones, and polyether. Majority of the time polyethers are basically the monophasic impression materials. Also, these elastomeric materials are in different consistency, like for example they may be light body, medium body, heavy body, or very heavy body, or putty consistency. So they can be of four types of consistency also. Now if we talk about before going into detail about monophasic impression material, we should know some basic properties about these elastomeric impression materials. Now one very important property is the nature of this material. So if we talk generally, most of these silicone materials are hydrophobic in nature, but if we talk about polyethers, which majority of the time are hydrophilic materials, and they are also comes in category where you have the monophasic impression materials. So polyethers are basically monophasic impression materials and they are hydrophilic in nature. Now you will say, what difference will it make whether it is hydrophobic in nature or hydrophilic in nature? Well, if you are having more of hydrophilic materials, then you have a good wettability, and if you are having a hydrophobic material, then your wettability is poor. So that is because of the contact angle. And if we talk about the contact angle, in hydrophilic material, that is the hydrophilic surface, are having low contact angle. That is, this angle between the elastomer and the water molecule is an acute angle. So it is having low contact angle, and this has good wettability. Now in comparison to, if you talk about the hydrophobic surface which is having a high contact angle, so that is, it is making obtuse angle, and because of that there is poor wettability. When you are pouring the cast, then you have poor wettability. So you will have when you are having a hydrophobic material, then the cast which is being poured in this surface will have more of voids in comparison to the cast which is poured in a hydrophilic surface. So there is a difference between when we talk about the types of surface. So some manufacturers, if we talk about in addition silicones, which are supposed to be the most widely used elastomers, so in those cases they add non-ionic surfactant. Now with the use of non-ionic surfactant, the hydrophobic surface turns into hydrophilic surface. It basically increases the hydrophilicity. So these materials are also known as hydrophilized polyvinyl siloxane. So these are the addition polysilicones. And if we talk about another material, is since it is a rubber type of material, elastomers, they are having the viscoelastic property. Now viscoelastic properties show excellent elastic recovery, and because of this reason, when you are removing this impression material from the undercut region, they don't distort. Now if we talk about a situation in which we are using a partially set material and which is already in a working stage, and you have crossed that working time, and you are using that material and you are forcing that material in order to make impression, then one process happens that is known as the rebound phenomena, because you are applying force on the partially set material, and this is the prepared tooth surface. So in this case, what is going to happen, you will be having the generation of forces in both these directions, and as soon as you are removing it, there will be shrinkage of this material, and this will cause distortion, and you will not get a proper cast, and then therefore the processes which you will make will not be it will not be proper, and you will have failure in your treatment. Another important property is the dimensional accuracy. So elastomers are known for dimensional accuracy, and that is the reason these are one of the most commonly used materials for your partial dentures, your fixed crowns and bridges, implant processes, because of dimensional stability and dimensional accuracy. Apart from this, they are having good flow property, and because of this they flow easily over the and they wet the surface of the prepared teeth or tooth tissues and record the details accurately. So these are some of these properties which are very important to understand. Now if we talk about the monophasic impression materials, these are hydrophilic material, as I mentioned to you before, and these are having excellent wetting properties. That is because they make a low contact angle, and they have short working time, and they are having high stiffness. Now that could be kind of a disadvantage also and advantage also, both. Now if we talk about this type of material, they are supplied in form of base and accelerator paste. Majorly the base paste consists of the polyether polymers, which are having moderately low molecular weight, and they undergo cross-linking to form rubber. And the accelerator paste, majority of the time they have the aromatic sulfonate esters, which acts as a cross-linking agents, and both these are having fillers and plasticizers, and also the accelerator paste contains retarder. So when we have this type of paste, two types of material, these are mixed. Now if we see a syringe form of material where we load it in the gun, one is base, another one is accelerator, and we will be having this kind of syringe, and we can just syringe that around the prepared surface or around the implant surface and make an impression. So I'll be just telling you how to do the manipulation of this material. Now there are three ways in which you can manipulate this material. In one way you can do manual mixing, as I'll be showing you here. Second way is automatic cartridge and mixing gun. So you have a mixing gun, you have these cartridge systems, so you have a tip there, you're going to load it there, and then you just syringe it around the prepared surface or the implant surface and make an impression. Third one is mechanical mixing with dynamic mixing tips, wherein you just place that you have a material like the 3G, like the 3M Pentamix system, in which you directly have the mixed material which is coming out from that, and you directly load it, and you can make impressions. So whatever type of manipulation method you use, the bottom line is you should get a uniform mix, and which should be loaded onto the tray, and then you should have an accurate impression. So I'll be showing you a manual mixing of material. So I have taken a base paste, equal length of base paste and accelerator paste. So how you're going to mix, just hold this mixing spatula and take this material over this and make a uniform mix like this. Once you have made the uniform mix, the working time is less, so you have to be quick and load this onto the impression tray, and then you have to place it in onto the prepared surface and the tissues and make the impressions. So the working time of this is it is around 2 minutes, and The setting time is around 6 minutes for the polyether or monophasic materials, 5 to 6 minutes. Now before making impression, you have to make sure when you are selecting the tray should have at least gap of 4 millimeters around the pipette surface, so that you have the uniform, the material is uniform around the pipette surface, and the details which are recorded are accurate and they don't get distorted. So once you have made the impression, you wash the impression like this. Now this is for a single implant which I have made an impression, and you see the clarity and the accuracy. If you see, yes, this is a close tray impression, sectional impression which I have made. Once you have made the impression, wash the impression and then air dry the impression. This is very important. So you have to air dry the impressions and make sure that it is you are not storing in, you are not putting it into water or into a disinfectant or in a humidator, because since it is having a hydrophilic nature, the chances of absorption of water is there, and then will not get a proper result and there will be distortion. Now since there are monophasic materials, so they are mixed, both the base and the accelerator paste are in a single consistency, and they are used as a single step impression technique like you see here. So we are not using any two different type of material, we are just using a single step impression technique to make an impression. So this is very useful when we are making impressions for implant processes around the implant surfaces. This gives excellent results. The other application is you can use it for making final impressions in fixed prosthodontics. They can be used as a bite registration material, and for making impressions in partial dentures or even in a completely edentulous arches also. The advantages: one, as you see that it is having excellent dimensional stability. If you see this impression, excellent dimensional stability is there. You don't have to pour the impression immediately. You can pour it within 7 days. Still you will have accurate results and there will be no distortion as such, and you can do multiple pouring with this type of materials. Also it has a shorter setting time. It has a long shelf life, and since it is hydrophilic, it has better wetting cast pouring, like you have a better cast which are not having voids with this type of material, and when we compare it with other elastomeric impression materials which are hydrophobic. But the drawbacks in this type of material, monophasic material, is that they are expensive, they are having high stiffness. So on removal, especially when you are removing the impression, you don't have to tease it while removing. So when you are removing this impression, you have to remove it in one snap. So when you are removing from the patient's mouth, it has to be a snap removal. Also, what we can do is, in order to break the seal around the impression tray and the tissues, you just tease it so that the seal is broken, and then remove the impression with a snap. So this will prevent from distortion of the material. It is having low tear strength in comparison to polysulfides, and electroplating of this type of material is difficult. So this is all about the monophasic impression material. Thank you for watching the video.